Nothing catastrophic happened. No betrayal, no explosion, no single moment you could point to and say, that's where it broke. It didn't end all at once. It faded, slowly, in ways you didn't notice at first. Dinners that used to feel easy started feeling like something you both showed up to out of habit. Conversations that once stretched into the night began ending early, not because there was nothing to say, but because neither of you reached for it anymore, and the silence didn't feel hostile. It felt accepted, like something you both silently agreed not to question. And the most frightening part wasn't the distance. It was that you had both slowly stopped trying to close it. You still loved each other. At least, you believed you did. But love, somehow, wasn't fixing what was happening. And no one had told you that love was never meant to fix it. There was something else. Something beneath the love. Something quieter. Something most people never think to look at until the relationship is already halfway gone. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here is what a dying relationship actually feels like from the inside. It doesn't collapse. It fades in patterns. And if you look closely, there are signs. It feels like effort without return. You try something, a message, a small gesture, a moment of warmth, and it lands flat. Not rejected, not criticized, just not received in the way it used to be. And that difference is subtle, but your mind notices it. Your body notices it. So the next time, you try a little less. Not consciously, not as a decision, just as a quiet adjustment to avoid that feeling again. And they do the same. And slowly, without either of you deciding it, the relationship shifts. Less reaching, less sharing, less emotional risk, until you are both still there, but no longer meeting in the same place. You start having conversations in your head that you used to have out loud. You replay moments alone instead of bringing them to each other. You begin editing yourself before you speak, not because you're afraid, but because it no longer feels worth the effort. And over time, something even more subtle happens. You stop noticing the small things, the details, the tone shifts, the quiet changes in each other. Not because they aren't there, but because you're no longer tuned into them. And somewhere beneath all of this, a quiet uncertainty begins to form. Not sharp enough to name, not urgent enough to confront, but persistent enough to feel. A question that exists without ever being spoken. Are they still really there for me? And here's what makes this so difficult. There is no villain. No one chose this. No one woke up and decided to stop caring. Something structural shifted. Something in the way the relationship was operating stopped working. And neither of you had the language to recognize it. Until now. Before the one thing, there is a reframe that matters. Most people believe relationships fail because of incompatibility, or because love fades, or because they chose the wrong person. These explanations feel satisfying. They are clean. They are simple. They give you something to point at. But they are often wrong, because most relationships don't collapse all at once. They erode, quietly, gradually, almost invisibly. Not because the connection was never real, but because something essential was never understood. Most couples believe they are arguing about time, attention, effort, messages, tone. But beneath almost every conflict is something much quieter, a question neither person knows they are asking. And because they don't know the question, they keep answering the wrong problem. So what is the one thing? It is this. Every relationship operates on two levels, and most people only see one. The first level is the visible one, the content, what you say, what you do, plans, routines, conversations, disagreements. This is where most effort goes. Better communication, more quality time, solving problems, and these things matter. But underneath that level is something deeper, older, more instinctive. a level that operates whether you are aware of it or not. Psychologists call it the attachment level. It is where your nervous system is constantly asking one question: are you there for me? Not logically, not practically, emotionally. When I am uncertain, when I am overwhelmed, when I am not at my best, are you still someone I can reach? This question is not spoken, but it is constantly being answered in the smallest moments. When you walk into a room and someone looks up, or doesn't. When you say something small and it is noticed, or dismissed. When you reach out emotionally and feel met, or alone. And over time, those small answers accumulate until your body begins to form a belief: yes, they are there. Or maybe they're not. And once that uncertainty appears, everything on the surface begins to shift. Not because love disappeared, but because safety did. Think of a relationship as a house. Everything you can see, the conversations, the plans, the shared life, that is the furniture, but emotional safety is the foundation. If the foundation shifts, the furniture keeps sliding, and no amount of rearranging will stabilize it. So what actually changes the foundation? Missed bids for connection. Every day, people make small bids. Look at this. I had a weird day. This made me think of you. They seem small, but they are not. They are the nervous system reaching out, and how they are received matters more than people realize. And here's the uncomfortable part. Most people assume they are the one being ignored, but often they are the one missing the signal, not intentionally, but because no one showed them what to look for. And once you notice it, you begin to see how often someone quietly reaches for you without saying it directly. When someone is distressed, they are not looking for solutions. They are looking for connection. But many people respond with logic, advice, fixes, explanations, and those responses are not wrong, just mistimed. And interestingly, the couples who rebuild this connection start with one very small shift. Not something dramatic, something simple. We'll come back to it because there's one more pattern. Turning toward is the smallest unit of change. It is not grand, it is not perfect. It is simply noticing and responding. Sometimes it's just, tell me more. Sometimes it's putting your phone down. Sometimes it's pausing for a moment longer than usual. These moments feel insignificant, but they are not. They are how the foundation begins to repair itself. A relationship is not sustained by love alone. It is sustained by patterns. Small patterns, repeated daily, built on one question: are you there for me? Every missed moment weakens it. Every small act of turning toward strengthens it again. That was the small shift, not something dramatic, just noticing and turning toward. The relationship didn't end suddenly, it faded, in ways too small to notice at the time, but impossible to ignore later. You don't need a perfect relationship. You need a present one. One where two people keep choosing each other in the smallest moments. Sometimes the difference between something falling apart and something slowly healing is just a moment, a small decision to turn toward when it would have been easier to turn away. And most of those moments are so quiet that no one else would notice them. And if you're honest with yourself, when was the last time someone quietly reached for you and you didn't notice until it was already gone? That choice, made imperfectly but consistently, is how relationships stop fading. If you're honest with yourself, were you the one reaching or the one not noticing? You don't have to answer out loud, but if you want to, I'll read it.